Alright, in this video we will be showing some temperature differences on a naturally aspirated 2.5 of running the stock Airbox with a K&N panel drop-in filter or the Corksport short ram. And this video mostly applies for daily driven cars, unless you have a track specific 4th gen. This may suit you more because you're not going to worry about heat soak. You're not going to be sitting in traffic. You're going to be constantly moving versus a daily driven car. You're going to see red lights, stop and go traffic. And as you've seen or may not know, Justin at Saucetune has made a great video explaining how much power this car pulls and timing once it sees certain IATs. So let me go ahead and start with the Corksport intake since it is cooler in the day. And this will give it the best chance it can versus the stock Airbox, which routes air from the front. So let me go ahead and swap that back in. Alright, so we've installed the short ram as Corksport does per their instructions. You don't leave the snorkel or the lower side of the box. Now some may say, hey, keep those on to lower temperatures, but we're running this test as Corksport has designed and instructed to run the short ram intake. So let me go ahead and reset my fuel trims because the mass airflow diameter on this one is smaller than the stock Airbox, and I don't want to run rich or lean because these engines are pretty sensitive to the inputs of any little change. So let me go ahead and reset my fuel trims and we'll get started with the test. All right, as you can see, it is 93 degrees outside. Intake is currently 109. So let's try to idle for about 5 minutes to simulate some just stop traffic and see what it reaches up to, and then we'll come back to that and see what it's at. So it's currently 2:35. All right, just clocked on to 2:40, so it's been 5 minutes. Intake is currently at 129 degrees. So let's go on a road drive and see what it drops to and how quickly. All right, we'll increase the speed here and see what it drops to. I hit 38 and I guess I forgot to hit record. 38 miles an hour for about a minute and they dropped. So let's see what these drop to right now. We're sitting at 122, going about 45 miles an hour. There's some traffic ahead, so I'm trying to keep distance to maintain my speed. 123. So intakes are staying without really dropping much. We'll increase the speeds here on the next straightaway, and I will circle back. All right, we'll go ahead and increase the speed here. 122. Let's see, 60, right? About 60. We're looking at 113. And let me switch to 6th gear real quick. Going 60. 109. And dropping. Oh, it's kind of going back up. Coming to the stop, or slowing down traffic. Intake temps at 116, 114. So that's what about 95 degrees ambient. It's about 9 degrees, 10 degrees, between 9 and like 12 degrees difference to ambient. Once moving, like at a fairly good amount of speed. Just moving in traffic, you're not really going to see much of a drop in air intake temperatures with the short ram intake. All right, well, here we're approaching real world traffic, not just my driveway. Currently at 125 degrees. Let's see what this bumper to bumper traffic will do to us. All right, looks like we're getting moving again. What are we at? 132 degrees. 307. And it's still 95 degrees outside ambient temperature. So we're moving about 35 miles an hour. So it takes a significant amount of time to drop in temperature, I would say. You can definitely feel the car pull timing. All right, well, in stop and go traffic, and just literally stop signs and going, I haven't seen it drop below 123. Still 95 degrees ambient. So let's go and throw on the stock Airbox and see what results we pull from that versus this short ram intake that allegedly pulls in a lot hotter air. So driving in stop and go traffic, heading back to my house, just driving about 30 miles an hour. The temperature has not really dropped. It has maintained between 132 and 136. All right, so with the Corksport short ram intake, when we first started the car, we saw a low of 109. Once we let it idle for about 5 minutes, I think it was low 130s. Highest driving around was 136, and that was while moving, so air should have been pushing through. And about an average seemed like it was in the mid 120s. So let's throw the stock Airbox back on with the K&N panel drop-in filter and see what that gives us. All right, here we have the stock Airbox. It's 307. We'll give it 5 minutes again. And let's see what it's at. Just reset the monitors. So off the bat, it's at 114. That's 116. Car is now hot. Once again, I did the test with the short ram intake first, so it has the best chances out of everything to succeed. You know, supposedly the stock Airbox pulls in colder air versus the short ram, so that's why I started with the short ram, so everything is nice and cool. Now everything is hot, and obviously it's gonna heat soak even easier. So let's see what the stock Airbox will be at after 5 minutes. So at 312, we'll come back and see what it's at. So it just rolled over to 312. We're currently at 122. So that is a 7 degree difference, 7 and 9 degree difference. Still 95 degrees outside versus the stock Airbox versus the Corksport short ram intake. So let's take it out on a drive, repeat the same route we did, and let's see what it shows us now. Let's see, same slow drive, about 12 miles an hour. 123 and holding. Let's get up to 30 on the next street. All right, well, this next 30 miles an hour section, we have some more traffic in front of us, but we're still holding 123. Temps have not climbed, so this is about 30. 122, temperature's dropping slightly, 123, so kind of holding still. Still nowhere near as high as the short ram intake. We weren't able to finish that 30 mile an hour section. We came to some traffic here. Let's make this turn and do the 40 mile an hour section. All right, here we're approaching the 40 mile an hour section. We're at 125 degrees for the intake temperature. Let's go ahead and speed up here. All right, so we're at 40. We're at 120, 118. The temperatures drop quicker than they did with the short ram intake. So about 120, 122 is what we're seeing, going 40 miles an hour. Now the intakes are now the same, I believe. I'll have to go back in the video. So we'll have to see. The intake temperatures do seem to drop a little quicker with the stock Airbox. So we're still going at 40 miles an hour. This next section we'll do the 60 mile an hour test, see what we're at. All right, we're approaching the 60 mile an hour section. let's see what we get to. 109, 111. 107. All right, now we are about to approach 60. We hit 6th gear. 105, 107, 109. Now it's actually 96 degrees outside, so 1 degree hotter. And we are significantly cooler than the short ram intake. I'm coasting at 55. So we're coming to a red light. So let's report back in simulated real world traffic, not simulated. We've been driving slower, and it looks like we're at 105. I saw it down to 104, going about 30. Now we're coming to that red light we were just at earlier with the traffic we're going to be in. Let's see what we are at by the time we cross the light and get moving again. 109. So we're slowly moving. We sat for about a minute or two, and the temperatures have stayed. They haven't really risen compared to the short ram intake, which was, I believe, mid to high 120s or 131 around there in this same section of the test. All right, so in both tests, we sat through 2 red lights. Looks like we're getting going again. At the end of this one, we are sitting at 113, 114 degrees, and we're getting moving again. We'll try to go the same speed. I believe we're going about 35, 40 last time. So get back up to speed there. So we're at 113. Temperatures do drop compared to the short ram intake. I am holding at 40. All right, so here we'll be simulating the, stop and go traffic, just driving straight, hitting stop signs. We're going 30, currently 111. 111. This is still later in the day. This isn't earlier in the day, so there's no temperature change. Still 95 degrees outside. So significantly cooler than the short ram intake. We're down to 107. We're still going 30, stopping and going, hitting stop signs. All right, well, that comes to the conclusion of our test. You be the judge for yourself. Honestly, I've had both of these setups. I've had this for quite a long time. And going back to the stock intake with the K&N panel drop-in just shows you how much this sucks. This, let's see, your throttle response is really bad with this. Believe it or not, this is great throttle response. You actually feel like your car wants to go with the stock Airbox compared to this. Now this finally comes back to the same temperature as this does in the 60 mile an hour range. Before that, as you can see in the video, this still stays, or maybe around 10 degrees warmer than this. This we saw a high of 136, 137 versus this, I believe it was 113 was the highest we saw, 118 around there. So that's a huge difference in the 2 intakes. And once again, you can look at Justin with Sauce Tune, aka Super Mazda 3 on YouTube. He kind of breaks down on how much timing your car pulls with the differences on intake temperatures. And believe me or not, you can feel a huge difference running this crappy intake versus stock, well-engineered intake. And again, that test was mainly for daily driven vehicles, which 99% of the people that own these do. If this was strictly track only, I would run the Corksport intake over there. I wouldn't worry about heat soak and traffic. I'm sure that may make more power in the top end, but on the daily driver, this is your game changer. The stock intake definitely makes more power. Yeah, people's dyno charts with more than optimal conditions show a power gain, but on the street, you're losing power with the Corksport intake.